Welcome to another Hodgepodge Australia video. Today we're making these super cute mud cake coffins with ghosts. We're going to start a day early with our ghost cutter and our white fondant. As you can see here, we've rolled out the white fondant and we're just going to cut our ghosts out. Now you want to do this about 24 hours in advance. You can do it days in advance if you want. You need to give the ghosts a long time to dry so they're absolutely perfectly stiff to sit up out of your coffins. So cutting them out, popping them on some baking paper, and every now and then just turn them over so that they can dry evenly on both sides. So popping them onto baking paper and then just put them aside for a day. As I said, come back to them every now and then. Just give them a flip so they dry nicely, as I've done there. Now what I've done is I have baked a mud cake in a slice pan. So I haven't done them too high. You don't really want really high coffins, just regular size. And I've printed out some coffin templates off the internet. I just did a Google search for coffin shape. It's interesting what comes up. I tried a few different terms. Coffin shape is the best one to Google if you want to do it. And just laying them out on your mud cake slice, and then you simply cut around the edges with a knife. Mud cake cuts nicely, and it's nice and dense, which is great, so it's not going to crumble and fall apart on you like a lighter cake. You want something nice and firm. There we have our coffin cut out. The paper just peels straight back off. Pop that over to the side and continue with your other coffins. That's all cut out. Let's get some milk chocolate and some cream, and we're going to make ganache. I've got about 250 grams of milk chocolate buttons there. I've got 200 mils of cream. Going to scoop all that in. It's going to go into the microwave for around a minute at a time. Put it in for a minute, take it out, give it a really good stir, put it back in for another minute, give it a good stir until it's all combined. And then you want to give it a bit of time to cool down so that it can start to thicken. I think dark chocolate probably thickens a bit better. I've had a thicker ganache with dark chocolate as opposed to milk chocolate. This is my first time using milk chocolate, but it's still, oh my god, it's so yummy. I had to put the bowl under a tap of water to stop myself from eating it. Anyway, as you can see, there's my milk chocolate ganache. What we're going to do now is we're just going to, oh yes, thank you for reminding me. Here I've done a cooling rack with baking paper underneath because it's going to be dripping, and I prefer not to get my bench covered in chocolate. So what we're going to do is take our mud cake, we're going to dip it in. It is a messy process, but come on, it's chocolate, so let's just get our hands a bit messy. Pop the mud cake into the ganache, give it a good roll around so it's all coated. Of course you're going to get a little bit smushed because you've got your fingers in there. If you want to use a slotted spoon or something, you can, but just tip a little bit of ganache over the spots where your thumbs have been and your fingers have been to cover it up. And continue that with all of your mud cake pieces. Then you're just going to let them dry a bit before we continue on with the decoration. Our ganache is drying. We're going to decorate our little ghosts with faces, because you can put them in just white if you want, but I think they just need a little bit of expression. So as you can see, I have really nice, dry, hard ghosts, and I have my edible pen that I can draw a face on. I'm not exceptionally artistic. I'm sure some of you would be able to draw really creative faces on there with fabulous expressions. Mine's pretty basic, but just an eye. Putting different facial expressions on them too, so they don't all look the same. This one's going to be a little bit of a surprised ghost, and I always find eyebrows make the whole expression come together. But let's decorate up our ghosts, and then we can put them on our coffins. So now that our ganache is dry, I have put some white chocolate drops into a Ziploc bag, and that's just going to go into the microwave for about, I think I did 30 seconds at first, gave it a little bit of a push around, and then another 20 seconds in the microwave just to melt some white chocolate, because I don't want to have to bake up a whole batch of royal icing just for this. So some white chocolate, snip off just the tiniest little end on that Ziploc bag, and we're going to do the outline of the coffins. Now, as you can see, coming up in a minute, I do not have the steadiest of hands, so it's a little bit of a wobbly outline. I'm sure yours will be a lot straighter, but it again helps to define the shape of the coffin by doing an outline. Plus, you don't have to put ghosts, as you can see on mine. I don't do ghosts for every single coffin. Some of them I just put a nice cross on, so it literally is just a coffin. Who knows, maybe there's a vampire in there. Maybe next Halloween I can do vampires. So doing the outline of the coffins on each one, and then we can get on with placing our ghosts. Nicely outlined and with the crosses on some of our coffins, it's time to place our ghosts. So let me turn this around so you can see, because I'm going to be putting them horizontally along the coffins because they're quite big. And it's just because they're nice and hard, simply just pushing them into the mud cake. And the mud cake again is nice and firm, so it's going to hold them in place. Make sure that when you're putting your ghosts into your mud cakes that you do it on the day that you're serving them, preferably even just before you serve them, because being top heavy and fondant, they will eventually bend over and break. So they are our mud cake coffins with ghosts. I think these are super cute. My kids absolutely love them. My daughter's hoeing into one of these today at school, minus the ghost. It was too hard to pack in her lunchbox. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.